Hey guys, it's Goldie Junior Plus back out on more to your day, and maybe my prediction wasn't the best. All right, a 2-3 record for predicting big games this college football season isn't very good, but it's not the worst I've seen. So yeah, Michigan destroyed Washington 34-13. Not quite as bad as Georgia TCU, but Michigan had control of this game pretty much the entire time. They weren't really ever in doubt of losing. I mean, in doubt of winning. Like, yeah, you could look here. There was a guy who was like high 70s. So Michigan was in a really good place the entire game. Their run game crushed Washington. Penix just couldn't complete passes. 2 interceptions. And Dunze, he was still good, of course, but he was pretty much shut down in the deep ball most of the game. Total yards, Michigan dominated. Michigan had no turnovers. They were very disciplined. That's very important, of course. How's the attendance more than the capacity? Were people just sneaking in anyway? But yeah, another national championship ends in more than a one-score game, the third in a row. Wait, actually, I think it's more than that because before that, Alabama won. They beat Ohio more than one score, but I can't really remember. Yeah, it's just sucks to see the cheating team win it all. But honestly, I've seen the emotion and drive J.J. McCarthy has had, especially since Harbaugh got suspended. I really respect him. McCarthy has a ton of haters, maybe even more than Stetson Bennett, but I don't know about that. He still went through, played his game manager football, only threw for 140 yards, didn't even throw the ball 20 times, compared to Penix throwing it for over 50 times. But that's all they needed to do to win the game. So, a ton of rushing touchdowns. I kind of underrated Michigan's running game heading into this. I knew Corum was going to do good, but that was not the only guy who ran the ball for Michigan. I just didn't expect Penix to have such a weird day. I did not expect him to ever have such a bad completion percentage. Like, I think that's just over 50%. Dylan Johnson couldn't really do much. They didn't even get a carry for more than 10 yards. As you can see, they didn't even really try to run the ball against Michigan, which honestly makes sense. Defensively, they only got 1 sack the entire time. Just really nothing went well for Washington here. And for Michigan, well, everything went well. Their passing game wasn't crazy, but it didn't need to be because the run game was so good. They only threw it to 4 different players the entire game. They only had 1 sack of tackle for loss as well. That's because most of the time Washington was throwing it, so tackles for loss weren't really an option. But 2 interceptions compared to Mr. Penix. I mean, not Mr. Penix. Washington having none. But I don't only want to just talk about this game specifically. I kind of want to just talk about college football as a whole. Now, congrats to the Michigan fans, first of all. I know how it feels to not have won a national championship in forever and then finally winning one against a good football team. And so, I know it must feel really great. People are saying that this championship doesn't count. It counts for now. Maybe eventually in the future when the NCAA does something about it, it won't count. But for now, it does count. NCAA hasn't done anything yet. So this is officially a national title in the books. Michigan is your newest national champion. 15-0 is not easy. They've beat teams like Penn State, Ohio State, Alabama, and Washington to get this far. The only thing I would have wished could happen is that they could have won against Georgia, and the 2 best defenses in college football could have faced off. But not every time, not every week, not every season you're going to go against all the best teams. But Michigan was dealt their hand, and they played really well with it. So congrats to them. After this will be a 12-team playoff. So it'll be even harder for number 1 to win, as they'll have to play more than 2 games. Will they still? With the Bobby, they might still have to only play 2 games. But still, yeah, it's going to be a lot more variety in national champions, I hope. At least for some times. Maybe every 5 years a team outside of the top 4 wins. I'd be fine with that. But it's a new step in college football. Jim Harbaugh may be leaving to the NFL, which, as well as a ton of great players on Michigan, including J.J. McCarthy. especially JJ McCarthy. So this will be a big change for Michigan. But people are saying the same thing for the Bulldogs, that after they beat Alabama, that they're losing too much talent to still be the best team in college football. Look what they did. So Michigan's not going to have 15 players drafted. I'm telling you that right now. They might have like 10. They're not having 15 like Georgia did. They'll be way more prepared than Jim Harbaugh is. I mean, than than Kirby Smart was. They'll still have everybody. Not everybody, but a good, decent amount of people. But one big thing is that Jim Harbaugh may not stay with them. Which if he doesn't, I don't know if they could win an national championship. Of course, when you just won one, all you want to talk about is that national championship and the chances of two-peating. Which, honestly, if I would say I think out of the last few national championships, I think Michigan has the least chance of repeating. I just don't see it. So, make sure to cherish your national championships because you never know when you're going to win one again. And especially one going 15-0. And Washington, people saying you're like the TCU. I disagreed the entire time. I never thought they were anything like TCU. I didn't think any of their wins were fluky, even though they did come down to the wire. I think this was just a talent difference and a matchup difference. Michigan knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to limit Michael Penix, make him force passes, and run the ball. That's exactly what they did, and it worked perfectly. That's the difference between a good coach and an amazing coach in Jim Harbaugh, which I would love to see him take his talents to the NFL. But final thoughts on this game. Another blowout, not my favorite, but a win is a win. And for Michigan, this is going to be a win they're going to talk about for a while. Honestly, it would suck if this year ends up with no national champion. But you shouldn't have cheated, or you shouldn't have gotten caught cheating. We'll see if this national championship stands the test of time. We'll see if Michigan can win another national championship next year, because they win it again. They two-peat. There's not much you can really say about them cheating. You can still say they cheated, but if they win next year without cheating, then it's just talent. Michigan's been in the playoffs for 3 years in a row now, and I think it was about time they won one. And maybe they might have to try it again, run it back without Jim Harbaugh. But can't wait to see what happens in the 2024 through 2025 college football season. We still got a lot of NFL playoffs to go through and stuff. So don't turn your backs on football, folks. Adios.